We are back with probably the craziest week we've seen with the weekly dividend ETFs. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome in. I talk about all things investing, and we are tracking the weekly dividend ETFs in this account. There are 9 of them currently. We've been tracking them for, this is week number 14. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot, and I'm super excited to see what it's going to do in the future. All through 2025, I will continue doing this challenge. So if you enjoy dividends, if you enjoy weekly dividend ETFs, YieldMax, RoundHill, all of the above, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and I'm really glad that you guys are here. So let's roll that intro. It is up $57.49. That is our total P&L gain because we initially invested $800. I pulled in another $200, $100 to go to YBTC, and another $100 to go in case we get another weekly payer sometime soon. So I'm very excited about that. We might have some new ones coming in 2025. You never know. But still, our account, we jumped big. We were at what? I think 1,030 or something last time. So we've had a nice $30 roughly gap up. And there's one reason for it. YBTC, the newest payer that paid out its first dividend this week, which I am so happy about. And so I couldn't be happier. We're going to begin tracking that one, of course, with all the rest of these. And I'm curious how it pans out as it is already up big. Before we jump into that, we need to check out our biggest loser. And we have a couple of big losers so far. The market has been rough. Don't forget that. The market, I wouldn't say has been in an uptrend. It's been kind of trading sideways, and some of these have been taking a crazy hit. IWMY, always our biggest loser. I think there's only been a few weeks where it hasn't been the biggest loser, and I'm not happy with it. Last week, of course, I'll link that video at the end if you want to see last week's update, but it was the biggest loser not only in percentage return, but also in total return, which really is a bummer because the yield is pretty crazy. Now, looks like you guys can see everything I'm seeing. We can see an AUM of 114 million and a dividend yield of 106%. Now, the dividend yield continues to rise because the price continues to fall, and so we see a lot of NAV erosion. I have had people say, oh, this isn't NAV erosion, it's the market downturn. Okay, the gap down, yes, that's market downturn. These things took a hit. The problem is the market itself will rebound, and these ones don't rebound. So watching the NAV kind of leak out, I'm really not happy about it. I will be doing a full video on NAV erosion soon. I want to do a bunch of research into it, make sure I know what I'm talking about definitively and some signs of how to spot it. But that will be coming in the future. It was from a commenter, and I appreciate it. It's a great idea to help us all learn. And if I make any mistakes with stuff, you guys always remember to let me know in the comments, please. So with IWMY, the last 4 payments, we've seen 32.4 cents, 27 cents, 25, almost 26 cents, and now 30 cents. So it was a bigger distribution still, which is quite nice because we kept seeing it kind of fall and reach new. I think 25 was an all-time low or close to it. So I'm glad that it's bouncing back up a little bit in the distributions at least, but I need the price to level. I need it to level and to stay level. I don't want to invest in something that the NAV is constantly falling because it's just, I don't like seeing it in my account. Sure, maybe you can use it better for taxes if you're getting a good enough return on the distributions and use that to offset the gains, but blah, blah, blah. I just want to have something. I'm a long-term investor. I very rarely like to hold things short-term because I like owning something. I like owning it and watching it grow over years and years and years. In fact, a lot of my biggest winners are ones I've held for a very, very long time. That being said, I did sell some Amazon and Tesla. I've sold them and bought them back a couple of times. But still, long run, I am a long-term investor. And with dividends, I love to see the growth. I love to see it compound. I love to see the beauty of compounding. I totally forgot. IWMY average cost. This is how bad it is. Our average cost is $34.61, and it's currently trading at $30.50. We're down 11.90% and a total P&L of down $12.33, which is a huge bummer. But QQQY, similar boat. We're down 8.63%. We've lost $8.90. Average cost $34.37. Currently trading at $31.40. So they've got to get their act together. And we've seen this with the Defiance funds. You guys have told me over and over, a lot of you guys have not bought into the Defiance funds, or you prefer the YieldMax or the RoundHill to them. And I cannot blame you guys. Of course, I will hold these for the duration of this challenge, however long I have this account for. But I'm not reinvesting into them. I'm not putting my dividends back into it because it just continues to fall. And I'm not happy with the return. So we have AWM of 164.6 million and a dividend yield of 82%. The yield, not bad. Let's see. Last 4 dividends, 28.4 cents, 23 cents, 22 cents, and 23, almost 24 cents. So not a terrible distribution, but not great either. I would like it to bump up a little bit or stay the same, even go down a little bit and be consistent and stop losing NAV. Stop having the price drop, because I want that money in my account. A lot of people, I think a lot of us dollar cost average, right? So you're buying as things drop and things drop. This doesn't work for me to dollar cost average, because every time I buy, it just continues to drop. So I'm really not happy with these ones. I've said that over and over again, but we will see. I don't think it's negative. I think QQQY is still positive in the account, which we will check in our spreadsheet after we go over this full account breakdown. But I'm curious, because it's probably not positive by much. Let's jump into our last Defiance ETF. Well, I thought WDTE might be the saving grace for the Defiance ETFs. It was doing a lot better. It was holding up a lot better, but it is still down 7%. So we have 2 shares, average cost of $42.18, and current price of $39.19. So quite the drop. It is smaller, and it is, I think, the most recent. Is this the newest one? Or no, this one was a conversion. The ticker converted from, I think it was JEPY, JEQY. I can't remember. Still under 80 million AUM, about 77 million, and dividend yield of 50.72%. So I thought this one might be the saving grace, because the yield is lower. And so you can actually see it kind of starting to trend sideways, albeit down a little bit. But with the yield being lower, I thought the NAV would be more stable. I thought we could see the AUM grow, even if a lot of investors get behind this one. But I really think it might just be the strategy behind these. Selling the cash secured puts is just not working. I don't know if it's not working because of the market that we're in, because of the environment, but either way, it's not working over the last 14 weeks. So, and it's kind of funny, if something's not working in a market that is doing relatively well, what's it going to work in? And what's the point? So, my cat decided to join in the background. Not happy with it, but yeah, last 4 distributions, we have 20.6 cents per share. Then we had 18 cents per share. We had 24 cents, just under 24 cents a share. And then now again, just under 24 cents at 23.75. Not bad, not terrible. I'm glad it didn't keep dropping with the distributions, but only time will tell with these. And maybe if the market flips, we'll see something different. Let me know what you guys think. And let's move on to the RoundHill ETFs. All right, we are on to our first RoundHill ETF. We'll do RDTE. I just put out an updated video on RDTE and how much you need to invest to get $100 every single week, which I think those are really fun videos to make. It's really cool to see the practical side of these distributions and what we can do with that money. So RDTE, because it is down so heavily, I wanted to do an update. It's down 6.22%, which, it's not as bad as any of the Defiance ETFs, but still, it's the worst of the RoundHill performers. We saw an average cost of $44.36, and currently it's trading at $41.60. Now, it is the newest. I think YBTC is still older, but it's just converted to weekly. So RoundHill is the newest weekly payer. But we see an AUM of 173 million. It's big. It's not a small fund. It's not like WDTE size. So it's well over 100 million. And a dividend yield of 12.10%. Roughly, I calculated it out to being roughly a 42% return based off of all the distributions we've seen so far. So that's great. That's high. That's better than I would have expected. Volume seems to be relatively average. It did have some pretty bad selling. Since then, it's been kind of bouncing back and forth. But our last 4 distributions, 37 cents, 26.5 cents, 27 cents, and now 59 cents. So here was the big thing. This is an insane distribution. I mean, we doubled the last 2, or combined the last 2. This is the same payout, which is wild. Absolutely wild. Now, I did get a comment saying that it might have a couple smaller ones following this one, having to do with something. I can't remember if it's taxes or whatnot, but I appreciate everyone that calls that out for me in the comments. I can't follow these 100%. I follow what's in the account. So whenever you guys help me with stuff like that, I really, really appreciate it. And I'll throw up the name of the commenter in the next portion. I'll pull it back up. But still, RDTE, very, very good, high, strong dividend that we saw. And so I'm happy. I hope it continues. And I hope all the RoundHill funds do really, really well. Speaking of, let's go into our next fund, XDTE. Sydney Simon-S8P, thank you so much. He was the commenter that spoke about it, and it was insightful. It's really helpful stuff. He said the next few distributions will be probably considerably lower due to interrupted trading weeks. Oh, that's what it was, not taxes. That's key. Yeah, so this doesn't even sound like it would just be an RDT problem. It might be all of these weekly pairs because we've just had a lot of interruptions. We've had a lot of holidays. We have another one coming up soon. So good point. Excellent point. Thank you so much for the comment, Sydney. We'll jump into XDTE. But first, we can see it's down 2.7%. Not bad. We have an average cost for the two shares. We have $52.31, currently trading at $50.90. Now, the chart, I like it a lot more, although it is down. It is down recently, but it's a relatively healthy chart. We see it bounce up and down. It's not this continual downtrend. It's not a crazy shelf and a crazy drop and then a trade sideways. I think XDTE has the best chart in my opinion. And this, the past of it doesn't dictate what it's going to do, but it helps give some insight. Large AUM of 300.64 million and a dividend yield of 20.84%. I think it is still higher than that, but who cares? Who cares? Moo might be a little bit slow. It might not have been around for a full year. I don't know all the details, but we can also see the interesting part. The volume has gone just kind of nuts. Like, this thing is really picking up in volume. I think these are getting a lot more eyes on them, and people are really enjoying them. I'd be interested. I don't know if there's any institutional buyers in these, but that would be something that I would look into. I wonder if they can buy these. I don't know. It might be a little bit too high risk for the typical trading strategy of these larger institutions, but still, I am that'll be something cool to look into. We see last four dividends, 15 cents a share, 64 cents a share, 60 cents a share, and now 33.6. So they just jumped. People were saying it might be due to tax reasons, but these last couple of distributions were massive. 30 isn't huge. It is still, it's still well above what we've been seeing in the low to mid 20s. So a very solid last couple of weeks. I'm very happy with the returns. Although it is down a little bit in the account, just overall market value wise, I think the return is really going to be solid when we check out the spreadsheet for this week. Now, all that being said, let's go into the biggest fund that we have, which is QDTE. 3 shares, down 3.16%, average cost of $42.39 and a current price of $41.05. Now, I can't remember. I think QDTE is the biggest, AUM of $182.47 million. I think it is the largest. I think it's bigger than both the YieldMax funds. But we see a 32.25% dividend yield, which I love to see. Again, we see more volume with this one too. I'm not sure what these spikes are. Yes, we had the sell-off big red day, but look at the overall volume. There's just more trading going on. Last couple of distributions, 16.46 cents. Then we had the massive 87 cents, 80 cents, and now 29, almost 30 cents. So how's 30 cents stacking up? Still well above the average for what we've seen. I don't even know if we've had 131 cent in the last 2 or 3 months, but all in all, I'm happy with that. I'm not sure if they're still holding off, if they're paying all this stuff out for tax reasons. I don't know. But I'm interested in seeing how next week's is specifically with, like I mentioned earlier, the holiday schedule messing things up. But I mean, these have just been so fun to watch. I hope you guys are enjoying this series as much as I am. I look forward to it all the time. So I always film them on Monday. The dividends usually come in on either Sunday or Monday. I film them on Monday, and then Tuesday the videos go live. And it's just so fun discussing these things with you guys. I think QDTE is still a good one for the long term. I think it is still positive in the account. I know it still is positive in the account from when I updated everything. But I've been happy with it. But now, YBTC, for the first time, we're going to look at the distribution that has been paid out. I'm a big fan already. I'll just say that. So let's jump into YBTC. It is a power play to be added to the account and instantly become the winner within under a week. This is the top returner so far because percentage-wise, we are up 10.77%, which is wild. 2 shares, average cost of $48.75. Currently, it's trading at $54 a share. I should just sell this and take my profit, but we're holding it for the long term. Looking at the chart, we can see, I'm not sure if this one has converted to, it did. We have the weekly. So it's not up here yet, but it paid out $1.63 December 30. And then January 2, it paid out $1.03. So my Moomoo account, when you get your alerts, I actually really like how they do this. It's not alerts, notifications. So we can actually see our YBTC. So we made $2.07 based off 2 shares. So it was about $1.03 in distributions, which lines up with the January 2 dividend. Now, I don't know if we're going to see, I mean, that looks like that's still a monthly dividend. So So it'll probably come down from there. I mean, if you divide it by roughly 4, we'll probably end up seeing something in the 20-25 cent range for the next distribution. But this is still a nice return. And I'm kind of surprised we got this. I don't remember when I even bought this one, but I bought it enough to get the last dividend of the monthly. So once it converts fully to the weeklies, which I don't know if it's going to pay out another dividend in a couple days or not, we'll see. You'll be updated on here when we do find out. But I've been loving it. Low AUM of 85.85 million, a lot lower than I anticipated, and a dividend yield of 42.03%. No complaints there. I'm not going to look at the last couple of dividends because they are going to be formulated for the monthlies, but look at this volume. Look at the volume chart. So we can actually see it slowly started climbing December 16. The news came out this one was going to weeklies. We had some red days in the market, and this thing still climbed. We've had a lot of volume going on the last couple of days. So I'm happy. That's probably why it's run up so nicely, is because of that volume, because a lot of people are buying, people are interested, which I am happy about. So let's go to our YieldMax ETFs, our last 2 in the account, which I'm super excited to look into because they have been paying out really, really nicely. Starting with YieldMax, because I think it is a fan favorite. We now have 5.3025 shares. Drip is on for these 2, and so it's reinvesting automatically right back into them, and I calculate everything on the side myself. So we are down 0.64%, which is not bad. We have an average cost of $17.59 and a current price of $17.48. Now, even though it is red on here, it is not red overall. We have seen quite a drop with all the news of the rate cuts, slowing, which is unfortunate for a lot of these businesses. But we keep buying these dividends at a low. So I'm happy to see that. We're scooping up more shares because it is cheaper. Not dividends. We keep buying shares at a low because it is dropping. So I'm happy about that. We've seen a lot of volume with these ones as well. And we have a large AUM, 667 million. I think YieldMax is the second largest, and a dividend yield of 44% roughly, which is not bad at all. Last couple of dividends, 23.77, and we had 12.26. We had 14 cents, and then we had 24.50. So these ones, especially YMAG, is worse with this because there's only 7 ETFs in it. YMAX, it really, sometimes the dividends will be a little bit cyclical, each month with this, depending on the number of ETFs that are within there paying out. So you can have a really high month and a really low month, and it's not affecting your overall returns because it's cyclical. So it's going to continue to do that. So this is not like a normal dividend stock that you're like, oh, I got 40 cents last week and now I'm getting 10. What happened? They cut the dividend. Bad news. This is not like that. Because that's how I used to trade, was focusing in on those more traditional styles. And I do still trade that way. I do still like a lot of those typical stocks. But just so you guys know, because that used to freak me out. I was like, why is the distribution? Why are they all over the place? Something's wrong. It's not well managed. No. The covered calls do output different amounts of money depending on what the market's doing. So there's going to be more variability anyway. But on top of that, it's just the cycle of when everything in the fund pays out. So I'm happy. YMAX is still one of my largest holdings. It's up there. It's getting up there more and more because I have drip on, so it keeps buying more and more and more shares. And I've been happy with the return in my Roth IRA. I'm happy with the return on here as well, which we will see in just a second. But first, let's take a look at the last fund in the account, YMAG. So currently, there's only 2 funds that are in the green just on unrealized P&L. So with our market return, we are still up 2.14%. We have average cost of $19.19, and currently it's trading at $19.60. We have 5.3231 shares. I cannot wait till we get to 6 shares because that'll be a full share purchase just off the dividends alone. And I'm kind of seeing the race between YMAG and YMAX, which one can get there sooner. YMAX does pay out more in distributions, but typically has a little bit worse price return. And YMAG is the opposite. It pays out less in distributions, but the return is usually a little bit better from what we've seen over the past couple of months anyway. So into YMAG's chart. Not the prettiest chart, not the ugliest. It's no XDTE, but you see these cycles. Boom, 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 boom. So now we're in a pretty low cycle. So if I was going to buy more, I'd probably do it around here. Not financial advice. I'm not buying any more currently. I don't want to overinflate this position in my portfolio, but I know a lot of people are buying YMAG and they have loved the returns. Volume is up. A lot of things are up. AUM, 338 million. And we see a dividend yield of 36.45%. No complaints there. I love the dividend yield. I love the return is up. Last couple of distributions, 27.7 cents. Then we had 16.8 cents. We had 6 cents, which was a really low one, and now 17.42. So the 6 cent distribution, I believe someone called out in the comments, that's because MSFY, whatever the Microsoft YieldMax fund, that's the only one that pays out in YMAG during this time of the month. So all the other ones pay out at different times, and it buffs up the dividends a little bit more. But the Microsoft ETF by YieldMax is the only one that pays out. So we're only getting one ETF's dividend at that time. And so that is the cause of that. Not terrible. I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me as long as you know, like I said with the other one, as long as you're tracking it and you understand what's happening, it really doesn't affect your overall return. It just differentiates when you get your money. So if you're living off of these, if these are like your retirement, that could be a problem. But if you know and manage it, then you should be good. And you guys should be in the know, I hope. And I hope that this helps. So let's jump into our tracking spreadsheet and see all the dirty details on what these funds are doing and what has made me money and what has lost me money. We are back in our tracking spreadsheet. We can see I did not add the cash value amount yet. I will update that and it'll show us exactly the amount of cash we have extra. But before then, check this out. We are now receiving $1 daily, $7.01 weekly, monthly $30.40, and annually $364.70. So our dividend yield is just under or just over 39%. Market return, we are down $35. Total return up $52.74. Love to see it. This is pulling all the data directly from Seeking Alpha. It's available on the channel members. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, you guys are already supporting me by watching the video, so I appreciate it. Don't stress about anything else. You guys, I'm so grateful for all you guys do. I really am. Cost basis $963.39. So we can see our monthly dividend income. We were up in December from a little bit of a low in October, but January it has been doing pretty good. It's only the 6th at the time of filming this. So at the 6th, we've already had $10 in payments, which is wild. Now let's jump into our weekly dividend log. This is what makes this spreadsheet very, very unique. I had it designed custom for this challenge actually, because it was really hard tracking all this data on my homemade spreadsheets that really didn't look good. Okay, perfect. So you guys should be able to see absolutely everything. And so we had about a week break. I'm sure this is due to December. Maybe that's why we had such larger payments, because spoiler alert, we had some pretty insane payments this last week. And so we actually got paid out on the 5th. So I've reported it now on the 5th, which we actually can't see. There we go, which is 1/5 through 1/11. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy about this. It's been good. We had 91 cents from IWMY, which is not great, but it's not terrible. A little bit higher than what we've been seeing, so I'm okay with that. QQQY, 72 cents. Pretty low. Still near our kind of our worst payments, only a couple cents higher, so I don't know what QQQY is doing. WDTE, a pretty nice payment actually at 48 cents. Our high of all time was 67 cents. And so we're not anywhere near even the middle. It's still on the lower end, but we're not reaching that high again. It doesn't seem like it. I mean, the price keeps coming down. The dividends keep getting a little bit smaller by each week. So I'd be surprised to see that unless there was some special bonus or something that they had worked out. Now we have QDTE paying out 90 cents, which again, compared to the 261 and 241, it is low, but it's still the third highest after those ones. So no complaints. XDTE, similar. It's our third highest as well. And I'm guessing it has to do with maybe they traded during these other days and it's lumped in. That would be my assumption. Let me know if you guys know in the comments how they ended up trading with the holidays. I'm sure they were off for Christmas Day and New Year's, and maybe the contracts from the days that weren't holidays were grouped in. I don't know. I mean, they had to be off on the holidays because the market wasn't open. So then we have RDTE, $1.77, which is an all-time high. And this is why I think that this multiple clump together is because a lot of these are seeing near all-time highs. It's no longer, they're not doing tax stuff anymore, I don't think. And so we see RDTE still coming in strong. And RDTE didn't even do anything tax-wise. I don't know if it's because it's a newer fund. It probably is. And so they just, boom, they paid out. What I'm going to try and remember to do is next year is buy these funds extra if they're at a good buying price before tax season, because QDTE, XDTE, RDTE, and probably at that point, YBTC will probably pay out some extra bonuses if it's been a good year, just like we kind of saw. So something to think about. We had YMAG pay out $1.65, which is an all-time high. Phenomenal. And we had YMAX do pretty well with the 96-cent distribution. Not an all-time high, but definitely nowhere near the low. I'm happy with both of those. They've been performing so extremely, extremely well, and I'm just really happy about it. Just a reminder, you guys, you have access, if you do the channel memberships, to this spreadsheet with all the data filled out already. When you sign up for that, you have access to all the different spreadsheets I filled out. The YieldMax total return spreadsheet, which took me hours to put together. I'll link that video at the end of this one because it is crazy. But it took me hours and hours and hours to put that one together. And then you have all the other ones of the RoundHill, total funds, all of these that are in here. And then soon you're going to have the YieldMax one as well because I'm getting that worked out. And we have YBTC. We said the $2.07. Nothing to compare it to. No complaints. I'm happy. We will see what next week holds for that. But now let's jump into the really important part and find out total gain and loss and what is our big winner for the week. We've got everything plugged in. YBTC, our newest one, down here at the bottom. And we can slide over and see our returns. Oh, there is a lot of red, but we were prepared for this. Some of these, I mean, I don't know. I have mixed emotions. Starting off, our biggest loser, IWMY. It's absolutely insane. This thing's down a 1.73%. Market value, it's down $12.78. So it's been paying out some nice distributions to offset that loss. Then we have QQQY. It's up at 1.28%. It's not red, but it's barely green. So that's not what we're looking for. I'm looking for a better return. We have WDTE at 3.01%. Again, not terrible. And this has been, 14 weeks now. So that wouldn't be what? That would be roughly a 12% return, a little under, maybe a 10 and 11% return on the year, which would normally be good, but we've had such a blockbuster year that it should be higher than that. Then we go to QDTE at a 5.30% return. Really, really solid. Happy with that for sure. It was rough last week, and it is still down market return numbers-wise, but total return, we are up. Then we have XDTE, which is under just by about 1% under QDTE, which surprised me. XDTE was doing better, and these two keep racing back and forth, and I love to see it. They're not really competing, but in my head they are. Like all of these are like, I want to be the winner, and there's only one winner, and IWMY has given up. And then we see RDTE, which is actually, it's surprising to me because the market return is down 6.67%, but we're still up. We are up 1.44%, which, like I said, with QQQY was a bummer, and it is still a bummer with RDTE, but I mean, it's been paying out nicely. That's how it's kind of fixing that. Then we have YMAG, which is our winner. Not our total winner. Surprisingly, we have a new winner. YMAG's been the last 2 weeks, but YMAG is only up 13.92%. Market return-wise, we're up 1.2% on our invested money. And then we have YMAX, our winner, at 14.28%. That is crazy. I did not think that it would overtake this week because YMAG not only is still positive, but it had a really, really good dividend. So I wonder, it must be because YMAX had a decent dividend as well, but the price action must have jumped back up from YMAX. I think it did come up a percent or two, which is what puts that just over the edge. It's not even a 0.5% over YMAG, but YMAX is our winner once again. I'm a little bit surprised. I am, but I'm happy. And then we have our newest YBTC from RoundHill, and we're up 10.27%. So this thing, although it is up the most market return-wise, and that's because it's run up lately, Bitcoin did have a nice run the last couple of days, but it's up not even with the dividends. We've only seen one dividend so far, and I'm still not sure, like I said, if that's the monthly amount. I'm not sure if that's because that would really offset this. But still, to go to third place within 2 weeks, no complaining there. Coming out of the gate, really, really strong. I hope it can keep it up. When we slide over, you see all the details over. On this side, we see the dividend yield pulled from Seeking Alpha, our yield on cost, the cost basis, and market value. But I want to focus in annual dividend income. We don't have it calculated yet for YBTC. We need a little bit more dividends, but you can see IWMY still being the highest quite significantly, and this is all based off the yield. So it's not factoring in NAV erosion, which is the whole point of this, to factor in the NAV erosion. But you can kind of see it's not bad. And then we have our total dividends received. So we've had $10.99 from IWMY and $10.50 from QQQY. So it's interesting. There's a pretty big jump between the percent loss from IWMY to QQQY, and the dividends are not that far off, less than 49 cents exactly. Then we have WDTE at $6.62, a lot less dividends, a lower yield, but a better return than the other two. quite significantly, to be honest. We have QDTE at $11.76 and XDTE at $7.89. So QDTE, with those last couple of giant distributions, is now again above XDTE. XDTE, like we said, supposed to be better price return but lower dividends, and that's what we're seeing. Same thing. QDTE, I believe, had a worse price return but higher dividends. So they kind of go back and forth, same way YMAG and YMAX do. RDTE, $10.80. If this thing would only consistently trade at a better price, it would be winning pretty significantly. I mean, at one point it was up 7 or 8% in the account, towering well over all the other RoundHill funds. But we've seen the sell-off, and that's okay. That's what we're doing this for, is to track the sell-offs and track everything. Then we have, wow, it's just crazy how YMAG and YMAX return the best, and they also pay the most. Like, I'm not telling anyone what to do with their money, but I have been thrilled with the YieldMax funds. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish that I was. Let me know if you guys would like me to do an interview or anything with anybody from YieldMax, because I could look into trying to set that up, because it would be really, really interesting. These funds have just been doing so well. We see $13 received in total dividends. All of this data, by the way, is pulled from our monthly dividend log, which is pulled from our weekly dividend log, and so all of it's auto-populated, which I really, really like. And then we have YMAX with $14.17, the highest by over $1 compared to YMAG, but still those two tower above everybody else, which I love. I love to see it. I'm curious how YBTC holds up. We already have $2 coming in strong. Don't know if that's going to be consistent, but I'm interested in seeing what it can continue to do. So if you guys are interested, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I'm going to link a couple videos at the end here. We're going to do our total return, our full video on all of the YieldMax ETFs. So check that out. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. And if you want to know how much you need to make $100 from RDTE, check out this other linked video here. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.